What is project management and why is it necessary for real estate projects? You're watching Savills Shares. Welcome to Savills Shares. Today we have Vincent Lau, Executive Director of Project Management, Savills Singapore, with us. Welcome to the show, Vincent.
Hello, Jack. Thank you for having me today.
Now, Vincent, you have an extensive career in construction and project management. What inspired you to pursue this field?
I started my career working for a local A1 grade construction company and developer in the mid-90s. And thereafter that, I moved on to join an international real estate project management company in 2006. The 11 years of hands-on experience working for a contractor formed a very good foundation for me in my consultancy line. In fact, my career path that I wish to take was never in the construction industry. Yeah, when I was young, my ambition was to be a police officer.
Oh.
Yes. During the late 80s, we have the movie by Bruce Willis.
Die Hard.
Yes, Die Hard. That further strengthened my ambition of going to the law enforcement agency. Somehow or other, I did not manage to get into that role. And looking back, I think it was a blessing in disguise because I thoroughly enjoy the challenges, the knowledge, and the friendship that I fostered the past 30 years in my construction development and consultancy career.
Right. Well, we are happy that you are pursuing this line. How would you define project management in the real estate context? And why is it critical for delivering successful outcomes?
I think, Jack, the work that I do, I would broadly classify them into two categories. Right? One is renovation, and the other one is construction. Right. Now, how we define the differences between renovation and construction? Now, for renovation, the work itself, during the design and the submission to the authority, there isn't any BCA plan submission. So mostly, the authority that we dealt with will be the fire safety bureau, getting the fire permits. Whereas for construction, it's the full entire engagement with the authority. From the URA, BCA, LTA, MPAR, and so on. So it covers the development control stage as well as the building planning stage. So besides getting a fire permit, you need to go through the process of getting TOP and also to clear the TOP and get the CSC. So that's the difference between renovation and construction.
Right.
Now, project management is the process of planning, organizing, executing and controlling resources, budgetary, and tasks so that it could meet specific project goals within the constraint of time, quality, and cost. Right. And project management typically follows a structured approach, which include this initiation, planning, organizing, monitoring and control, and close out.
That sounds like a lot of work.
Oh, definitely. Now, effective project management help clients to achieve their strategic goals. At the same time, optimizing their resources, reducing risk, and improve efficiency.
What are some of the unique challenges that project managers will face, and how do you overcome them?
Oh, Jack, that was a very important question. I'm glad that you asked. Now, for us as project manager, I think there is a saying by a quote by Benjamin Franklin. Project that fear to plan is planning to fail. Right. So that's why project planning is very important. As I mentioned to you about the project life cycle, from the initiation to planning to execution, control, and close out. Now, this is where the importance of bringing a consultant project manager in at the very beginning of your project planning stage, right? What I saw is that there are several times that organization. They have some project to be undertaken, whether it's a construction or renovation. They are getting their in-house resources, such as the office manager, for example,
Right.
to carry out, to do the planning and initiation. Now, we saw cases where the client, they have completed the tender process. They brought in the contractor, a design build contractor, for example. And when we come into the picture, we realize that there's a lot of things are missing from the client requirement. Right? I mean, I can give some example. Is that there isn't a proper formal conditional contract. For us as a PM, sometimes we do contract administration. Without a proper building form, we are unable to protect our client to the best that we can. Right. Also, there will be missing things like a bond, because in the local market, contractors, they need to furnish bond of up to 10% of the contract sum. So take, for example, if the project contract sum is $10 million, so they need to furnish a bond of $1 million. Other than that, like for example, some of the contractor will ask the client to sign their contract, which skews towards the contractor, right? Or there are cases also when our client get the contractor to sign the contract, but a lot of time we see the contract that is furnished by the client, they are more like a PO and a contract for vendors. So it's not really skewed towards the building form, which cover a few very important things like how you evaluate these claims, extension of time, variation orders, defect liability period, liquidated damages, warranty, things like that.
I see. Well, obviously, investor, developers, and tenants have very different expectations. But how do you then navigate their diverse expectations?
Now, contractually, we can only represent one party, the party that engaged us, right? But then our duty is to indemnify our client as best as we can under our scope of service, as well as our professional duties, right? But then we recognize the fact that there are different party and stakeholder within a project, be it the landlord, the facility manager. Hence, I think it is important to engage the stakeholder as often as we do. And importantly, is to set up a stakeholder engagement plan, as well as a RACI chart. Now, the RACI chart basically covers responsibility, accountability, consult, and informed.
And I would imagine that expectations would be different based on what you explained earlier on, renovation versus construction, right? And if so, are they very diverse in terms of the expectation, or like if somebody were to do renovation, the expectation for all clients are the same?
Most of them, the client expectations are the same, right? They want the best quality, the fastest time to complete the work, and also to spend as less as they can.
Is that realistic?
I think if we were to look at these cost, time, and quality, which I would say we look at a triangle, like cost, time, and quality. Well, we can only meet one project driver, right? If you want the thing to be fast, obviously, quality may suffer and it may have to pay more, right? But then if, for example, you're looking to not to spend so much, right? Then you would not expect to have quality products. And contractor, meaning if you don't pay them right, they will go to another job site that pay them more, right? So end up the time may be lengthened.
So how do you then reach that sweet spot in the center of the triangle?
Now, beside failure to plan, as I mentioned earlier, communication is key, right? According to a 2013 study by the Project Management Institution, the study revealed that over 30% of projects that fail is due to lack of communication. And the same study also revealed that over 50% of the project run into budget issues due to the lack of communications.
So how do you then ensure that communication flows the way it's supposed to?
It really depends on when the client bring a consultant PM on board. We will want to come on board at the initial phase so that we could help our client to decide what are the procurement strategy that most suit them. And other than that, we need to work out a project roadmap, which also part of it can be a project execution plan, which include a risk register, program, and stakeholder engagement plan.
Well, it sounds like the expectation of clients can be quite immense. Do you then work with adjacent business units? And if so, how do you work with them to ensure that you hit success rate with your clients?
Well, Savills provide a full suite of real estate consultancy service that cover the entire real estate this life cycle. Right? We have this agency business, professional services, advisory and management services. So for project management, we work closely with all the departments, providing them project management and cost management this advisory. The closest department that I work with would be this industrial and commercial leasing team. And other than that, we also work very closely with our service design, our ESG, as well as our property management and facility management team. The benefit that I see is that we go to our client as one full suite, one-stop shop. So instead of them going out, looking for several party, they can just come to Savills direct. And also 3 years ago, we bought over a company called Merck Construction Management. So we have just completed the integration about 2 years ago.
Right.
And that brings on additional capabilities, which include this cost management, as well as construction management services to the client.
Recently, I came across these two models: design, bid, build, and then design and build. What's the difference between these two approaches, and how do you guide clients to navigate between which one to opt for?
So Jack, what you're referring to will be, I would call it the procurement model. Now, beside these two, there are also this EPCM as well as management contracting. But then again, the design bid build, which we call a traditional route, as well as the design build, are the two very common procurement strategy that's been, procurement model that's been adopted in the local industry. Now, for a traditional route, what happens is that the client will sign contract with all the consultant, and they go through a full design development process before it flow out to the market to bring in a GC, which is general contractor, through the tender process. Now, the benefit of this traditional route is that at the tail end of the design stage, the client will have the certainty of the design because 100% completed, as well as certainty of cost. Why I say that? Because the QS will be able to do all the costing based on the materials that has been used, within the design itself. So they have certainty in quality, certainty in cost. And when it brought out to the market, the GC, basically they are only competing in price. So they can get very good competitive bids, right? Whereas for a design build route, the client will work with a consultant, primarily the PM. We will help the client to establish a client requirement, right? And then that will form part of the tender documents where the design build contractors will tender. Hence, the design build contractor will take on the role of the designer. Usually, they have in-house or they may outsource, but then the responsibility and liability on design will fall on the design build contractor.
Right.
Typically, a design build route will save about 20% of the time as compared to a traditional route.
That's a lot of time.
Yes. But then obviously the important part is that the client requirement, it must be robust. So wherever client want or even wish for, they have to spec it out in the tender document. If not, they have to pay more when they decide to make some changes to the project or to perhaps to some of the material that they need to change. In the recent years, especially after the pandemic, we saw that a lot of projects are adopting a design and build this procurement route. The reason being is because during the pandemic, a lot of clients they are not making decision to whether to move or to stay on, because there are a lot of changes with the work styles of the employee, whether they are working from home. So they are not sure whether should they give up space or should they be taking a smaller space. So later part, then they realize that they don't have enough time to carry out their work. Hence, they got to take on a design and build approach due to the shortening of the project timeline.
What emerging trends and technologies, including the impact of AI, are transforming the way real estate projects are being managed today?
AI has been increasingly been integrated in the project management by supporting consultant PM in automating some of the tasks, doing some predictive analytics, support in resource management, and also on the support and communication as well, and decision making. Some of the AI tools that commonly being used in the market, which we also been using, for example, like this Procore, Fairwire, AR, VR, SpaceMaker AI, as well as these Alice technologies. But then what we see is that AI will struggle with few things, like for example, complex these human interactions. They'll be unable to respond to sudden project change or the client expectations. And also they will be unable to inspire and motivate the team members. Hence, AI will not be able to take over the role of a consultant project manager in the near future. Instead, AI will serve as a powerful tool for project manager. And the project manager role will shift more towards into a strategic, creative, and human-centered task.
And what advice would you give then for aspiring project managers in the real estate sector?
Well, I think I would advise them to embrace technologies and also leverage in tools and project management software to ease their work, but never take shortcut, right? They should also find a role model and also a mentor if they can, and then to take calculated risks, build strong relationship, and be ready for challenges. Right. And they should not stop learning because the real estate industry is always evolving with new tools and emerging tools and technologies.
Right. Now, if you had a chance to meet your 21-year-old self, what pearls of wisdom would you impart to him?
Well, I would tell him to always believe in himself, be kind and courageous, and have faith, and knowing that every hurdle that he will cross will shape him into a better person in time to come.
And looking back, is there something that you change your mind and say yes to or no to?
I probably wouldn't change a single thing. I would still say no to alcohol because I can't hold my drinks. No to smoking. Yes, good food, dim sum, coffee and tea.
Yes to that. More of that.
Yes, more of that.
So on that note, what makes a good dim sum?
Well, obviously, you have fresh ingredient. Must be hot.
Right. Okay, steaming hot.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Vincent. You've been very, very generous with your sharing today, and all the best for the new year.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you for this session.
And thank you for joining us on Savills Shares. All the episodes on Season 1 and 2 are available on YouTube Music as well as Spotify. So till the next one, God bless. This podcast is for general information only and should not be taken as professional advice. Savills accept no responsibility or liability for any direct or indirect or any consequential loss from the use of, reference to, or the reliance on this podcast or its content.